Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. This is another B1 level science lesson. Today we're going to be talking about cells. So what do you know about cells? And do you know the term cell organelle? So see if you can remember any of these terms from biology. Match the um, term with its definition. You can pause the video while you try to do that and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. All right, here are the answers. Number one, a cell is the tiny building block of living things. Number two, DNA is letter H, the genetic material that carries instructions for the cell. Number three, organelles, that's letter G, the tiny structures inside the cell with specific functions. Number four, nucleus, that's letter A, the control center of the cell. Number five, cytoplasm is letter F, the jelly-like substance inside the cell. Number six, mitochondria is letter E, the powerhouses that produce energy. Number seven, chloroplasts, that's letter D. They're found in plant cells where photosynthesis occurs. And number eight, cell wall, is letter B, the outer covering of the cell. Okay, so look at each image and see if you can determine what the meaning of the word in bold is. So cells divide to create new cells. Well, divide would be letter B, to split into smaller parts. Cells protect us from germs. So protect would be letter D, to keep safe from harm. Number three, cells make proteins which build and repair tissues. So repair is letter C, to fix something that is broken. And number four, some cells carry oxygen in our blood. So carry means to hold or transport something from one place to another. All right, again, we'll look at more of these, matching the images and the words in bold with the definitions. So cells use pathways to transport water and nutrients. So again, transport is to move from one place to another. The nucleus stores the genetic information of the cell. That would be C, to keep safe for later use. Cells communicate with one another. So that would be D, to share information or messages. And the mitochondria produce energy, so produce means to make or create. All right, so now see if you can match each sentence with one of the pictures. Again, you can pause the video, try this on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. All right, the cell is dividing. That is letter E. Whoops. Okay, the cell is dividing is letter E. So showing we have one cell and it's splitting into two. The battery is storing energy from the sun. So that's letter C. We see here the solar panels and the battery. Number three, the skin is repairing and growing new skin cells. That is picture A. And number four, the chloroplasts are producing food using sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water. That is letter D. And the blood vessels are transporting nutrients to different parts of the body. That is letter B. All right, so again, we're going to review the definitions. So to move from one place to another is to transport. To manage or direct something is to regulate. To split or separate into smaller parts is to divide. To keep safe for later use is to store. To make or create something is to produce. And to control or manage a process to keep it stable. Actually, I think this one is regulate, and control is to manage or direct something. So those backwards. All right, so now see if you can fill in the blanks in each of these sentences with one of the words from the boxes. You can pause the video and try that on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. So trees produce oxygen that we need to breathe. Cells divide or split apart to make new cells in the body. Cells communicate with each other using chemical messengers. Blood vessels transport oxygen from our lungs to all parts of the body. Thermostats regulate the temperature in the room, and bears store food in their dens for winter. Okay, here are a few more. Again, you can pause the video, try these on your own, and then restart to check your answers. Okay, so cells store genetic information in the form of DNA. Cells use special proteins to transport ions from one location to another. The body regulates its temperature to stay healthy. An orange can be divided into small pieces after you peel it. Bees produce honey in their hives, and the brain controls how your body moves and thinks. All right, so now you can pause the video and read this on your own, or you can follow along as I read, and then practice labeling the different parts of the cell. Here are some vocabulary words to look at first. So squiggly is an adjective, and this is an example of a squiggly line. Rod is a noun. This is an example of a rod. And dot, also a noun. This is an example of a dot. Organelle is a noun. It's the structure inside the cell. And similar is an adjective that means alike but not the same. Cells are the basic building blocks of living organisms. There are different shapes and sizes, but they all have similar parts. Inside each cell there is a nucleus in the center which controls the cell's activities and has the genetic material. Around the nucleus is the cytoplasm, which contains organelles that do different things. The mitochondria, which look like tiny rods with a squiggly shape inside, produce energy for the cell. Ribosomes are small, round organelles that look like dots and make proteins for the cell. The endoplasmic reticulum is a network of membranes that looks like a maze and helps to transport materials to different parts of the cell. And the cell membrane goes around the cell and controls the materials that go in and out of the cell. All right, so we'll take a look at the answers. So letter A is the nucleus. Letter B is the substance here, is the cytoplasm. Let's see, yeah, the cytoplasm is B. Okay, mitochondria is F. The ribosomes are E, the ones that look like the dots. The endoplasmic reticulum, that's D, and the cell membrane is C. All right, so now we're going to look at animal cells and plant cells. So just take a look at these, see if you can figure out which is which. And I believe this one would be the plant cell because it talks about chloroplasts. Um, an animal cell wouldn't need to produce chloroplasts. Chloroplasts. Also, the cell on the left here looks a little more complex. So animals um, probably have more complicated cell structures than plants in many cases. All right, so now we're going to read about the difference between an animal and a plant cell and then answer the questions. So you can pause the video, read on your own, or you can follow along as I read. Animal cells and plant cells share some core features. First, they both have a nucleus, which acts as the control center. The nucleus stores the genetic information. Second, both types of cells contain cytoplasm, a jelly-like substance where the organelles float. Lastly, mitochondria are present in both types of cells. These tiny structures produce energy to power cell functions. Animal and plant cells also have differences. Animal cells have a round or irregular shape, while plant cells are usually rectangular and have an outer layer made of cellulose, which provides support and protection. Additionally, plant cells have chloroplasts, while animal cells do not. These green organelles enable photosynthesis, allowing plants to make their own food. Lastly, mobility differs. Animal cells can move around. In contrast, plant cells stay in one place. So what do animal cells and plant cells have in common? Well, they both have a nucleus. They both have cytoplasm. And they both have mitochondria. So what is the function of mitochondria in both animal and plant cells? The mitochondria produce the energy needed to help the cell to function. How do animal cells differ from plant cells in terms of shape? So animal cells are round or irregular, and plant cells are usually rectangular. And what provides support and protection in plant cells? Usually the outer core of the plant. Let's see. The plant cells have an outer layer of cellulose, which provides protection. And what are some other differences between animal cells and plant cells? Well, the plant cells have chloroplasts that enable photosynthesis, and the animal cells do not. Animal cells can move around, and plant cells stay in one place. All right, now we're going to learn to use the word while to show contrast. So the sentence structure here is while plus the subject plus the verb or characteristic plus subject plus verb different characteristic. Or you can put the while in the middle. Doesn't always have to go at the beginning. So here's some examples. The cell nucleus controls the cell while the mitochondria produce energy. So cell nucleus is the subject. Control is the verb. And then here the mitochondria is the second subject. And produce is the second, energy. Produce is the second verb. Plants have a cell wall, while animal cells do not have a cell wall. So here the subject plant cells and the verb have, and here the subject animal cells do not have. But and however are also used to show contrast, and the sentence structure is the statement plus the verb, and then but plus the subject and another verb. So plant cells have chloroplasts, but animal cells do not. Cells are very small, but they do many important jobs. So to label these, plant cells is the subject, have is the verb, we have our comma, and then the word but, and then animal cells, and do not is the verb. Cells, subject, are verb, we have the comma, and then but, and then we have the subject they, and the verb do. So here is another way to make a statement showing contrast using the word however. So however, comma, and then the contrasting statements. So animal and plant cells have many differences. That's the statement. Then we have however, comma, both types of cells share common components like the nucleus and cytoplasm. You can also use a semicolon after the statement. So the statement, semicolon, however, comma, and then the contrasting statement. So all cells need energy to function. However, they get this energy in different ways. All right, so now you're going to practice combining these sentences using while, but, or however. So go ahead and try these on your own and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. All right, number one, cells need oxygen to live. However, some cells can survive in environments with very little oxygen. Number two, the cell membrane protects the cell while the ribosomes make proteins. Number three, while both types of cells have a cell membrane, only plant cells have a cell wall. White blood cells fight infections, but red blood cells carry oxygen. And some cells can survive independently, but most cells live together in groups. Both plant and animal cells have a nucleus, but plant cells also have chloroplasts. Cells can be very small, but they can still perform many functions. Both types of cells have a nucleus. However, only plant cells have chloroplasts for photosynthesis. While animal cells are usually round, plant cells are often rectangular. Most cells have a defined shape, but some cells can be flexible and change their shape. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.